Hey everybody, welcome back to Teensy Vintage. This is Teresa, and today we are still working in our mini junk journal. We've done red and we've done orange, and today we're doing the next page, which I'm going to do in yellow. First thing I'm going to do is add some gesso to the page just to cover up these images and text, and to give the things I'm going to glue and paint something to stick to. Gesso adds a really nice light texture to the page. These pages were really glossy magazine style pages, like light cardstock, so they just need a little help, adding a bit of texture. I'm also going to do the flip side of the page, so this will be a double page, I guess. Although not really. It's a front and a back. So it's not a 2-page spread. But regardless, we're going to do yellow today. And I'm excited. I like yellow. Yellow's really fun, colorful. Of course it's colorful. It's a color. Vibrant. There, that's a good word. And we're going to start out with a little acrylic paint. This is Liquitex in Cadmium Yellow Light. And I'm using a dry brush here to just go over this image, cover it up with some bright yellow paint. I want my brush strokes to show, so I'm using a dry brush, and I'm just covering up this part because the little flap on the side is going to fold over and become a pocket. So yeah, we're doing a pocket today. Woo! Yeah, get that nice and dry. Make sure you dry everything between layers, unless you're trying to blend things together. Otherwise, you might get a bit of a mess. We're also going to put on a little bit of glue here, and this paper didn't want to adhere as quickly, so I'm using some binder clips to kind of hold it in place for a few moments while it dries. While it's doing that, I'm going to open up my little yellow box full of yellow ephemera and pull out anything that catches my eye that's in the right color. Because remember, this whole mini junk journal is going to be tone on tone with some neutrals thrown in, because, well, why not? So I'm pulling out a few numbers, some letters, some vintage advertisements, just cool stuff that I had, in this pile of goodies. I realized that lady in the image over there on the left, she's wearing kind of more of an orange dress than a yellow dress, but I'm going to let it slide. Now I'm going to look for some text, and luckily I happen to have some text that has yellow paint on it. I'm going to see if I can find anything else. These are some press plate, or gel plate press, whatever you want to call it, gel plate pages. There's SpongeBob. He's yellow, but he's not the right vibe. Sorry, SpongeBob. Looking to see if there's any little bits and bobs in here that would work. And honestly, I think we've got enough. We've got 2 pages of book text, and we've got our little bits of ephemera. And there's one card there. That card is from a gel press session that I did months ago. But the nice thing about those is they come in very handy later. So I'm going to use a glue stick here, and I'm just going to press one of these pages directly onto my work surface. I'm going to use this scraper tool to make sure that it's adhered evenly and flat. And then I'm going to cut off any excess. There's a little bit here. I intentionally left that part not glued, and I'm going to use a ruler to make a nice straight tear. And now I'm going to see how to make this fit. And it doesn't really fit yet, so I'm going to make it a little shorter, cut off the part that's more pink than yellow. We'll save that little bit for another project. I'm going to go around the edges here with some vintage photo distress oxide ink, just to kind of age it a little bit so that it goes with the other vintagey type stuff that we've got going on in this little journal. My intention for this journal is not to have everything match, but to have elements that coordinate. How's that? All right, so now I'm going to do a little bit of auditioning here. I really like this guy's yellow suit, but I didn't really need the rest of the advertisement, which is in blue. So I'm actually just going to cut out the man in the yellow suit and use him to make this cluster on this library card. It's a book card. Did you know you can buy those in bulk? I did. They're great. I can make them any color. I can use paint, ink, whatever. And they just look cool. You can also get vintage library cards. You can get them from sellers online, and you can also get them at, library book sales. Or you can make a friend with a librarian and ask her to see if she's got any old library cards. Or, sorry, catalog cards that are lying around. Your library card's different. That's what you use to check out the books. All right, so now we're going to start gluing these pieces. I love this weird yellow shape. I think that came out of a strange die cut. Um, because it's deliberately shaped like that, but it doesn't look like anything, which is cool. It works for my purposes. So yeah, we're gonna glue everything down, give it a good mash there to make sure it adheres. And I'm really happy with that. That turned out nicely. Okay, so back to our page, we're going to use this stencil and I'm going to bring out the vintage photo again because I want the coloring of the stencil, the marks to be really light. So not only am I going to use a lighter color, I'm going to use a light touch. And I'm just using one of those blender tools with a little sponge on the end to lightly put this pattern in. And that's just to kind of, break up the page a little bit, give it some visual interest, and, distract from the fact that, yeah, this was once a piece of junk mail. These are the other little bits and bobs that are going to go into this pocket. I wanted to rough up this card a little bit, and I'm using a Tim Holtz distressor, and it's got little blades in the crevices, and you can use it to rough up the edges by scraping them. You can use it to make a little gouge mark. You can kind of pull off the corners. That way your card looks like it's old, even though it is absolutely not. All right, so this card with this guy and this lady is great, but I wanted to add something, and I'm going to add something from my snippet set number 2, which you can get your own copy over on my Ko-Fi shop. The link will be in the description. And I'm going to grunge this little sentiment up, and I'm actually going to cut it into 3 pieces instead of one long strip, just because I think it'll fit better on the image. Um, and I don't know. I just like it that way. I'm going to use just a touch. I had a lot of trouble picking up these tiny pieces, so I got a pair of tweezers out rather, and I'm using the tweezers to hold the little tiny piece while I add glue. Frankly, I had trouble with the tweezers too. I don't know. I was just having a dexterity issue the other day, I guess. But anyway, I think it looks cool. It's a little like a touch creepy. There's kind of a vague, sinister undertone to this whole little mini journal so far, which, kind of like it. It's weird. Let's see here. It says a dying woman's secret. Oh dear. Oh man, I really liked it. I think it turned out cool. All right, so now there's this space here on the pocket, the outer pocket, and I've got a teeny tiny image of an old um negative or a, oh gosh, what did they call those? Darn it. A slide negative. That's what that is. There you can see my little suitcase boxes. We're gonna pull out our nature ephemera and see if there's like any little butterflies that are yellow or flowers or something. Something that can kind of uh, slightly match up or coordinate with the orange page next to it because it has a butterfly on it too and some florals and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm just going to pull out a few little bits and bobs, see if something works. Um, because yeah, you could absolutely just put the slide on there and leave it at that. But you know what? If you add 2 more little things, you've got a cluster. And frankly, a cluster just looks more interesting to me. So yeah. get all our little bits and bobs, and now I'm just kind of auditioning these tiny pieces to see where they might go. I'm putting it at an angle, you know, be jaunty. Seeing if anything else needs to kind of go on the bottom part of that pocket. I don't know. So we're going to go around the edges, of course, vintage photo, and then, glue all our little tiny pieces together. This I had a little more luck with, probably because these are cardstock and not old book paper. But yeah, I'm just going to stick those to the edges, grunge it up just a little bit, and we'll glue that cluster to our pocket. And yeah, it just kind of breaks up that field of text and just, it's visual interest. And it just looks cool. Forgive my sniffles, y'all. I have some allergies today and they are wreaking havoc. All right, I figure it needs a little something else. I'm going to get out some washi tape. That's a Tim Holtz washi tape. And I'm also going to pull out um, something from his little numbers collection. And this one is just some random numbers. It looked cool. And we're just going to stick it on top of that washi tape. All right, we're done with the first part, the front page. Now I'm taking the other page of book text that has yellow acrylic paint on it, and I'm going to tear it up and collage it onto this page in the journal. And it's like when in doubt, just collage some stuff on there. One, it's visual interest. Two, it's texture. And three, it just looks cool. It covers up whatever was underneath completely and absolutely, so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Sometimes I like to let that stuff show through, and sometimes I don't. Just go with your gut, whatever feels right. And I'm just kind of putting it up to the edge there. If you go over the edge, it's totally fine. You can snip off anything that's hanging over. Or if you're going for a really grungy look, just leave it, you know? And I realized that the piece that I had torn out to go in the middle there, I had torn up and used already. Because, well, sometimes that happens. It's all yellow. I think I just picked up the piece and was like, oh yeah, I'll glue this down. And then realized, oops. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to snip off anything that's hanging over the edge. And we have a nice bright yellow background that just took a few minutes to make. You don't have to think too hard, you know? It's one thing to put together something really intentionally, and that's great. But when you're sitting down to just have fun, yeah, just start gluing stuff. Now I'm going to pull out some ephemera pieces. These are a mix of cardstock and nice paper. These are in white and gray. This is from 49 in Market. This is their, what is this? Charcoal ephemera stackers pack. And basically, it's just a bunch of printed pieces in all different sizes. And I picked this out because I can make these yellow. And all I had to do was get out some ink. So I'm pulling out Distress Oxide in mustard seed, which is a really nice yellow. It'll go well with the yellow behind it. Remember, we're doing tone on tone. So I'm going to make these gray pieces yellow. And then I'm going to form a cluster on this little gray card. And I'm also going to throw in one more little thing. I thought it might be that flower, but it's not. It's actually a book page number that happened to have a little yellow on it, which I really liked. Okay, so I'm really happy with how that looks. It is very inky, by the way. So when you're working with those distress inks, be aware the ink is going to get all over your hands. So be mindful of what you touch. Like, don't touch your face, and maybe don't touch your clothes. And maybe don't touch other parts of your artwork if it doesn't need to be yellow. Just FYI. I'm going to grunge up that little tiny page number some more and it falls out of my hand. Oh my goodness. There we go. And now we have this cool card. And yeah, we're going to add another snippet. And this one I pick out something that says mysterious numbers. Because, well, there's some mysterious numbers on this card. The back of this little card is blank, so you could journal on it if you wanted to, or just leave it alone. Whatever you want to do is fine. There we go. And I'm going to grunge up that little page number some more. And now I'm like, huh, how's this going to go on the page? I didn't want to glue it down. So what I'm going to do is get another piece of cardstock, cut it in a diagonal, and cut out a little notch. And I'm going to turn it into a little corner pocket. So I'm going to add some glue to two sides and paste that onto my page. And then, oh, I'm going to add that little flower. That little flower's been trying to get in here for a while. There it goes. And yeah, I'm going to add the date to the back of this card just so, I'm like, oh yeah, I made this in December of 2025. Yeah, there it is. This is so cool, y'all. We're done with yellow. Yay! Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button and please subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next time.